I'm Peter Anderton, and I help directors and their teams deliver change that sticks. We've talked about a whole range of different areas. We've talked about the power of having a team that are playing at their full potential, playing to their strengths, energised and delivering at their best. We've talked about how you can get a team that are connected and the real conversations happen in the boardroom and not outside in the corridors afterwards. And we've talked about the power of having a team that are fully aligned. They know exactly where they're going and they know exactly where they're starting from. But of course there's more to it than that. The whole principle of leadership revolves around the two rules that we've discussed already. Everything you need to know comes down to one of two rules. We've already talked about rule number one. Rule number one says it's not about you. It's not about your ego. It's not about your solutions. It's not about your way of doing things. It's about them. If you can actually create the environment to bring the best out of them, to draw the ideas and the solutions from them, you can create superheroes. And we no longer live in the kind of world where one person has all of the answers. But what about rule number two? Well, before we come to rule number two, let me just talk to you about John Maxwell's 5 levels of leadership. He says level 1 leadership is where people follow you because you're the boss. For no other reason, it comes with a job title. The problem with level 1 leadership is that's where people give their minimum, never their best. Always quick to get out the door. Always quick to make sure that they're doing things in work time and never in their own time. Level 2 leadership is where people follow you because they like you. You don't have to be their best buddy, but we've all worked for a manager we liked and we've all worked for a manager we didn't like, and people give more when there's a connection. Level 3 leadership is where people follow you because you deliver. You've made a difference. The organisation is better. You follow through on your commitments because of the things that you've done. That's where they follow you. And when you come to level 3 leadership, each time, each level they're moving on to, they're giving you more and more. At level 1 you just get the minimum. At level 2 you get more. At level 3 you get more again. And this isn't manipulation now, this is choice. They're choosing to give you more and they want to give you more. At level 4 leadership, people follow you because of what you've done for them as an individual. You've helped them grow. Just think back in your own experience to maybe a teacher or a manager you've had that saw something in you that you didn't even see in yourself. They may have challenged you, they may have put you in situations that you thought you couldn't handle but they knew you could. They've supported you, they've encouraged you, they've helped you become the person that you are today. You'd walk through a brick wall for them if they needed your help. But level 5 leadership is where people will give you their all. People will work for you with blood, sweat and tears. And they want to do this. It's a choice. Level 5 leadership is where people work for you because of who you are and what you represent. It's all about you and your individual values and your strengths and your weaknesses and behaving in a transparent way that brings all of these things together. Rule number 2 says, just like Gandhi put forward, be the change that you want to see in the world. Rule number 2 says, it's only about you. What do I mean by that? Well, you can't control somebody else's behaviour. When we think about the levels of leadership and the levels of commitment that you can reach as you move from level 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5. People don't come with remote controls where we can just press a button and get them to move on a level and give a little bit more. It doesn't work like that. The only thing within your control to get them to choose to move from one level to the next is you. It's all about your behaviour. It's all about how you're coming across. It's all about what is it like to be on the receiving end of you. That's what rule number 2 is all about. And it doesn't contradict rule number 1. Rule number 1 says it's not about your ideas, your solutions or your ego. But rule number 2 says it's only about your behaviour. Rule number 2 says stop waiting for everybody else in your team to get their act together and start cleaning up your own act. Nelson Mandela absolutely nailed rule number 2 when he said, I could not change others until I changed myself. So if you want change that lasts, you need to be prepared to look in the mirror. And when you look in the mirror and you see the reflection before you, what you also need to recognise is that in time, the very best leaders have learned that their teams become a reflection of them. So if you don't like what you see when you look at your team, start thinking about how you can change. That's possibly the best piece of advice of all that I could give you. Now, there's a whole load more that's available in my simple guide, 26 Leadership Secrets, that if you just click on the link below, you can pick up that, which contains everything we've talked about and a whole lot more besides. It's simple, it's powerful, you can apply it with immediate effect. I hope that was useful.